so I'm back again with another video. This time around I have part 6 of my original Xbox collection series, I suppose. In this series I've been taking a look at all the original Xbox games in my collection, usually going to about 15 games per video. In this video I'm going to be looking at games that pretty much begin with the letter S, because there are a lot of games that begin with the letter S. And let's just get right to it. So the first game here is the Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future combo pack. I have no idea what this actually came with, if it came with a console or something like that. But yeah, I've been trying to see if there is a standalone version of Jet Set Radio Future. I did like Jet Grind Radio myself, so I would like to try and find something like that, but I think it wasn't released in North America on its own. But yep, that's that. Moving on, the next two games here are Serious Sam and Serious Sam 2. So these games are both FPS games with really weird enemies. The weapons are kind of okay, but at least there's some variety to them. And the sequel, I haven't played it yet, but it does promise that it has bigger guns, weirder enemies, and serious action, so hopefully that's somewhat enjoyable. Those Deep Sea Adventures, I barely even remember why I even bought this, but I wonder if it plays anything like Echo the Dolphin, but in 3D. Maybe like one of the later Echo the Dolphin games. I think there was one on the Dreamcast. Maybe it plays like that, not too certain, but it says you battle the evil Kraken and Poseidon the sea god. Okay, that's something. Next game here is Shattered Union. This game, it's like a tactical turn-based sort of game. It has, pretty much the story is that the United States like sort of falls apart into, what was it, 7 different factions, and you sort of just fight against each other, but because it's like a tactical game, it's kind of dull. I mean, tactical games aren't usually dull for me, but this one here was particularly dull. Next game here is a follow-up to an amazing open world RPG, I suppose, for the Dreamcast. It was on the Dreamcast as well, but never in North America. It was released in English in Europe, and of course it was released in Japan. But in North America, we only ever got it on the original Xbox. It's Shenmue 2, and this one here comes with Shenmue the Movie, which is just a DVD that features all the cinematics from the first Shenmue, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Shenmue 2, I still to this day haven't finished it, so I should get back to that. I really finish that before Shenmue 3 comes out. Next game here is a weird sort of mashup of game types. It's Sid Meier's Pirates Live the Life. So this one here, it's both like a strategy RPG and also an action adventure kind of game. You get these ships that you can upgrade, that you also fight with. Like you fight against other people's ships. So parts where you duel against each other, sort of person to person. So it's kind of interesting that they have all those sort of mixed into one game. But I haven't really gone back to that anytime recently. The next two games here are in sort of one of the best but sort of disappearing survival horror game series. Kind of sucks what's happening with this series dying quietly. The two games I have here are Silent Hill 2 Restless Dreams and Silent Hill 4 The Room. I have not played The Room yet. I have played some of Silent Hill 2. So I can't really say much for this. I don't know how it really plays, but I'm assuming it's more or less the same with sort of, how can I explain it? Plot twist with tons of plot twists in there. And a lot of stuff to scare you, and very few weapons or anything to really defend yourself with. Next game here is Simpsons Hit and Run, and if I remember correctly, this one here is the one that's pretty much a GTA 3 clone. Not too certain about that, don't quite remember, but I'm almost certain that this one here, Hit and Run, was like a GTA clone, but not too certain. There were other Simpsons games that I'm actually forgetting the name of that were released during the 6th generation, but yeah, I'm almost certain this one here is the GTA clone. Next is Sonic Heroes. Leave that at that. But slightly better, Sonic Mega Collection Plus. This game here features a collection of a bunch of previous Sonic games. It has Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. It actually says that that game was released on the Genesis, but I personally thought it was only on the Game Gear, but I guess I'm wrong about that. The next game here is Soul Calibur 2. Now, during the 6th generation, Soul Calibur was released on original Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. And the Xbox version, honestly, is the one that I played the least. The sort of special character featured in the Xbox version is Spawn, and Spawn is okay. He's not really one of my favorite comic book characters, but he's also not sort of terrible in my mind. I like Spawn when I was younger, but now not so much anymore. And honestly, between the three versions of Soul Calibur 2, I'd much rather play the GameCube version because you get to play as Link. But even the PS2 version is fine. I think you play as Heihachi from Tekken, but not too certain about that one. Now, the next game is Spawn Armageddon. Now, this one here, it's like an action-adventure game, and if I remember correctly, it was inspired by the first, 100 issues or something of the comic, so it had to do in line with what was happening in the comics, I suppose, but honestly, I only read the comics for, the first few issues, and then I only just recently got them again, but if I remember correctly, this one here sort of plays like a hack and slash, or I want to say something like a God of War kind of game, and the attacks that Spawn uses sort of chain together in pretty interesting ways, so it's a pretty okay game, sort of a little bit better than okay, but not that sort of interesting. Now the next game here is Spy vs. Spy. I have not played this game, but it looks like it's some kind of a multiplayer platformer where you're supposed to try to find each other in a level and just kill each other in wacky ways and get back information from each other. That's sort of what I've gathered, but I haven't actually been able to play this game yet. And the last game that I'm going to show you guys in this video is SSX 3, just a snowboarding game. There are many games in this series. I can't really recommend one over the other. They're all kind of the same, to me at least. But the interesting thing about these is always the soundtracks. The soundtracks are usually good for me, at least. This one here has Fatboy Slim and NERD featured in the game, so that's definitely a plus for me, but not a plus for many people. And that there is the last game in this collection update series. As always, leave comments in the comment section below. Anything you'd like to say, comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, anything at all, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, and website. They're all linked in the description below, and also linked in the description below is a link to my 500 subscribers contest. Check that out as well if you'd like. And that's it. See ya.